All right, hello and welcome to the Dedicated Show. I haven't been live in several weeks because I decided to sort of take the summer off from the live show, but I decided that today is August 1st, so why not do a fun live stream? In this show, I want to talk to you about content creation. So, I'm going to introduce to you a concept called the content matrix, and we're going to talk about where to get ideas for creating content. If you ever thought you wanted to get into creating content on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, anywhere else, this content creation matrix will definitely help you on at least getting some ideas of what to post. But I'm hoping you'll get a lot more than just a couple of ideas. You'll get a whole template, a format, a structure by which you can use to create content. Okay, as you're joining, I want you to first say hello in the comments. I think it's always great when live show, we can actually talk to each other. So that's the benefit of the live show. So make sure you go ahead, pop in, say hello. You can let me know where you're tuning in from, or you can let me know if you are a content creator or if you'd like to be a content creator. For now, I'll define what is a content creator. It is an individual or entity that creates content. And by content, I mean video content, images, audio, written text. The types of content is there's just such a large variety out there. So I will check in, and I see we've already got some joiners. Hello, Martin. Thanks for joining. I love when people say hello, so I definitely appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, look, Sunny's here. I remember hanging out with Sunny in Vegas. Hello, hello. You're in Charlotte. Good to see you, Sunny. Hope you're having fun at ThoughtSpot and doing all the fun stuff there. All right, if you're just joining us now, I will let you know again what we're talking about. We're talking about content creation. I think we're at a point where most people are realizing the power of content. You're realizing now maybe that when you're Googling something or looking for something online, those who have created content tend to show up first in search rankings. For example, if you were to look for me, Kate Strashny, or Dedicated on Google, you can look at images, you could look at newsletters, you can look at videos, and you will see a lot of content. Whether that content is amazing or not doesn't matter as much. Obviously, we want to have good content versus bad content, but the idea is being present is really, really powerful at just raising awareness and taking up that social media real estate by just blasting the channels with lots of video, audio, and text lets you sort of take control over what people are seeing when they look for your name. Okay, quick check in to the comments. Hello, we got Zachary from Chicago, John from Italy. Hello, hello. Let's see, Aaron joining from Charlotte. Nice. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Sarjeet here from San Francisco. All right, we've got folks from Nigeria, from Sweden. I love the international audience. Thank you so much for joining us. Pavan, hello, hello, and then Eduardo from Brazil. I love how international this is. Anyone who's said a location so far, almost everyone has been unique. Oh, Graham, there you are. Rasgo, how's it going? I meant to email you, Graham. I'll email you after. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I actually have a template that I will share with you. So I am going to share my screen. It's a spreadsheet that you can feel free to copy paste. I can make it publicly available if that helps, but it's literally very, very simple to create. I am going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see that. Let's go ahead and pull that up here. All right, here is I call it the dedicated content matrix, but insert your name, insert your company name here, and you can create your own content matrix. I'm going to zoom in so we can sort of focus in on one thing at a time, right? We've got categories and subcategories. So let's go ahead and focus in on this. Pretend you don't see the right-hand side. So we have categories of content, and the broad categories as I see them are educate, inspire, promote, and entertain. And you can grow this to be even longer, but I think those 4 buckets are the reasons people consume content, right? They want to learn something, they want to be inspired. They don't necessarily watch for promotions, but this is how they become aware of products and services out there. And I think most importantly, they want to be entertained. I think the reason a lot of us are scrolling on our phones a lot, all the time, are because we're seeking that entertainment. And if you can be the one to provide all of these or some of these for your audience, then why not do so, right? I have created some subcategories that I think are helpful in terms of structuring the content. So if you're focused in on educating, then thinking through tips for success or mistakes to avoid. If you're hoping to inspire others, you can share your personal journey, interview or highlight some celebrities' journey. You can promote, if you have products, let's say courses or books that you're selling, you can have testimonials or social proof of someone saying, wow, look how amazing this course was, and here's the value I got from there, highlighting those stories. And then obviously you can have discounts and sales. If you have 15% off for Thanksgiving or Christmas, whatever holiday, you can go ahead and use that promote. There's also the entertain, where you can have giveaways, contests. I love doing things like that, and as well as jokes and memes. And those are the broad categories that you can focus on. Now, what I have here, and I'll zoom out for a bit. What I have here on the right are content topics. Now, for each of these categories and subcategories, you will have your very own content topics. Now, I love talking about data visualization, proper use of color for data storytelling, personal branding. I love telling people how to use LinkedIn. I run, so I love talking about running, data tools, and talking about all the tools that are out there, how to break into data careers, as well as managing a business and those entrepreneurial topics. Those are my favorite topics. Obviously, you will have different topics. Do you love coding? Do you love Python? Do you love dogs, hiking, whatever that might be? Create those topics. Now, let's say you wake up on a Monday morning and you decide that you want to create some content. Well, the easiest way to do this is use this matrix, right? Let's say you want to talk about personal branding and you want to talk about tips for success. So you sort of pick a content topic, you pick a subcategory, and then ask yourself a question. What is a tip for success in personal branding? Jot down some ideas, and that is how you get those juices flowing. So mistakes to avoid, for example, while running. Obviously, in my mind right away, I come up with a lot of mistakes to avoid. Don't run too much, or don't run if without fuel, or don't run if you're feeling injured, right? There's so many ideas that start to flow once you use this content matrix. Now, over to the right, I have added also the types of content, because there are several types of content. I am going to quickly pop in to see if we have any comments or questions here. Let's see. We've got more people telling me where they're tuning in from. I think what will be helpful is, as I'm walking through this, if you have any questions that you want me to answer in terms of content creation, I'd love to sort of pause once in a while and take those questions. Or if you have comments and feedback on the content matrix, I'd love to talk through that as well. Otherwise, this would be a pre-recorded video, right? We're here live and you're watching this live, I think, for the benefit of actually having this interaction. So definitely feel free to jump in if you've got specific questions, or if you're on a content creation journey and you need a hand, you have a specific situation you want me to talk about and weigh in, I would love to do that for you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go back to sharing and continue walking through this. So types of content. There is video pre-recorded. Now, these are videos that you might find on YouTube, sometimes on LinkedIn and Facebook. These are edited, formatted, usually videos that help you either entertain yourself or answer some sort of questions. There's live videos, such as what you're consuming right now. And those are good for, again, Q&A, making sure you have that interaction, checking in on your audience, making sure no one's stuck and, that you can potentially help. There are texts. So if you're a great writer, you can have long form text, you can have short form text. For the long form, that's something like more of a newsletter, an article, a case study, all different types of content. You can share images, single images, multiple images. There's something called a carousel. That's basically when you're scrolling to the right to see the next page. So you can use that for photos, videos, and documents. And one of the more popular things right now on LinkedIn, surveys or quizzes. So using the poll feature to survey your audience, get feedback, quiz them on a specific topic. And then over to the right, I've also got some platforms that you can review. So I mainly use LinkedIn and YouTube, but there's also Medium, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, and there are so many other platforms that I did not include, but these are some of the more popular ones. So here is the full, I'm going to stop moving the screen. Here's the full content matrix that you can take advantage of. All you really have to update are the content topics, because I'm assuming the topics are going to be very different for you than they are for me. And that's what makes us interesting, right? Because we have those specific things that we can talk to. Now I will stop sharing and go ahead into the questions here. Oh, and I see Susan is here. Hey, Susan, thank you for joining us. Ravit, hello, hello. Loving the live sessions. Thank you. Yes, Ravit, it's been a long time for me. So Aaron is asking if there's anything that should be avoided when creating content. I think I would avoid personally creating content for the wrong reasons. So a lot of times you might notice that there are viral posts in your LinkedIn feed. I'm going to assume we're talking about LinkedIn because that's just my platform. But let's say LinkedIn or YouTube, there are pieces of content that are getting millions of views and crazy amounts of engagement because it's either something tragic or adorable or something funny, right? And that's fine. That's fine. Once in a while, I think those posts are completely fine. I think what I would avoid is going after those viral posts as your main strategy. I think the main focus should be on building valuable content that attracts the relevant audience that you're hoping to attract. So if, for example, if you have a course on how to learn Python or R or Tableau, chances are you want data professionals or students that desire to be data professionals who want to learn those skills to be in your audience. Those are the ones that you want engaged. Now, when you post those either silly or highly engaging videos or images or memes, what might happen is you'll get a ton of engagement, but it might not be the right audience. So I think what I would avoid is going after the hype and the numbers, and instead I would just focus on delivering valuable content to the audience that I want to attract. Okay, let me see. There's something here from Susan, back off from the lip sync. So yes, Susan, if you don't know Susan Wall, she has a weekly lip sync video that she puts out. So make sure you go ahead and check those out. Aaron really says he really likes polls and has two questions here. One, what platform do you like to use for posts? And second, how do you best gather the data from the post for analysis? I highly prefer LinkedIn, but I've been going pretty big on YouTube. I think YouTube is a great platform for evergreen content, right? Things that people can search up later on. LinkedIn is really good for we're here for 24 hours and then you might not see this this piece of content again. So I would vote for posts. And then in terms of gathering data from the posts for analysis, LinkedIn does provide you with a bit of data in terms of the regions, the titles of the individuals and companies from where your audience's views are coming from. For YouTube, you have a whole analytics tab. You have the YouTube Studio, which actually gives you so much data, so many analytics around who's viewing it, when are they dropping off, how long are they viewing your content. I do hope LinkedIn is going to get better at providing more detailed content metrics on our content. As of now, I think YouTube does a much better job at that. So yeah, in terms of gathering data, I see what works and what doesn't. And I think the number of views and comments is a good predictor. So if my content had, I don't know, 50 views over a 24-hour period, I probably missed the mark with my audience. Because the way this generally works, and I don't know the exact algorithm, right? But we can assume that a piece of content comes out there, and if it gets 10 comments within the first 10 minutes, LinkedIn generally takes this as a good sign. Okay, people were interested in what this person had to say. Let's show it to a few more people, or 20 more people, or 100 more people. And, whatever that number is, and see if those comments go up. If they don't, maybe that person is in some kind of commenting pod where they ask their best friends to comment, and then after LinkedIn shows this post to more people, it sort of dies. I think that's another thing to avoid is begging people for engagement, because in the end, what it comes down to is good, valuable content that other people truly care about. All right, let's get into. I saw there's another comment here from Joel. Hello, hello. So, what have your most important learnings, hits, misses in your content creation journey been? I think I might be on the side where I tend to post too much. So I cannibalize my own views because I simply have too many things I want to post in a day. So if I could, I would put maybe 10 to 20 posts out a day. And I know for a lot of people, they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. I wish I had this problem. But no, it actually, I think there is such a thing as too much content. So if I post one thing on LinkedIn and it's doing really well, then a few hours later I post something else. And by a piece of content doing really well, I mean it's getting more views and comments than I normally would get. So let's say I'm getting 100,000 views, which is pretty good. And then I post something else a few hours later. What happens is that post sort of dies because I think LinkedIn says, okay, that post is old news. She posted something new. And if it's not as good, if it's not performing as well as the first one, then I sort of killed it for myself, right? So I think being careful and not flooding the gates too much and being strategic in terms of how I time my content out. As I say this, I still don't follow what I say. I still post too much. I think best practice is probably 5 times a week, where I'm more of the like 10 to 15 times a week, and that's on an average day. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it is less if I'm on vacation or something. All right, let's see. Tushit, can we post some meaningful random facts or credible reports related to topics like health career from a perspective of content creation, or do you think it only works on YouTube? I think that there's definitely a place for this. I think it just goes back to trying to understand what your personal goals are, right? So what do you want to achieve by posting these random facts or credible reports? What I notice is when people realize that, oh, social media is powerful, I need to do stuff, right? The easiest thing they can do is start sharing other people's content. And I don't think that's the best way for you personally to grow. I think it's great for the original creator who's created this piece of content, and then to get all these awesome people who want to feel like they're doing something on social media. So they start sharing other people's content. And what happens is you yourself don't get recognized as this expert. You get recognized as a valuable member of the community, but you're not the expert who's put out this piece of content. So I think even if you're starting out your learning journey, I would still err on the side of creating your own content or documenting your own journey as you're learning whatever field you're in is more powerful than just simply sharing other people's created work. Obviously there's a balance. Maybe you share 10% of other people's work and create 90% of your own. Sharing is still caring. I still tend to share some of my friends' content or content that I think is just beneficial to the audience, but I do try to focus more on the creation of original content. All right, let's see. Another question here from Joel. We're bombarded with so much content across all platforms. Yes. What has your experience been in resisting the urge to overconsume and move towards creating content? Okay, great question. I think it's always smart to start by consuming, especially if it's a new platform. Like when I was learning how to use TikTok, I started by watching several hours of TikTok videos and just learning what works, what doesn't, what do I tend to watch versus skip over, right? Learning the best practices and then simply get right into creation. I think focus more on providing value versus consuming value. And using that content creation matrix is probably the easiest way to start because you'll have all your favorite topics that you love talking about. And then you have the little prompts that ask you, do you want to educate? Do you want to entertain? And obviously sometimes you can combine the educate and entertain all in one, which is probably the most valuable content out there. So give yourself some sort of goals that you can follow. Like I'll create one post a day. And I think that's already a very good start. Weekdays only, you can take the weekends off. So I'm going to go ahead and look. There are some other questions I think I might have missed. Okay, Sunny had a question here. Are the goals of the matrix to focus scope or help generate new ideas? It is definitely both. It is helping you focus your scope because you will have defined the topics that you love focusing on and that your audience has come to expect from you. Now, if I got into something else, like if I started loving motorcycles and just started bombarding my audience with motorcycles, it would be something unexpected, and I don't know if it would make them happy or not. You guys can let me know. Like, what if I started talking about motorcycles? Would that shock you? Would that be like, okay, cool, Kate has a motorcycle? I don't, by the way, have a motorcycle. I have looked into getting licensed, but it's just aspirational for now. But yeah, so it helps you focus on the scope of what your audience expects. It helps you focus on what you want your content to be about. What do you want to be recognized for? What is your personal brand that you want to sort of foster out there? And definitely helps you generate new ideas within that scope because those prompts really start asking you, okay, how can we entertain on the topic of data storytelling or data visualization, right? What if we showcase all the terrible data visualization graphs that were created and focus on 10 of the worst ones and show people what not to do, right? That could be entertaining. I would watch that because that's something I'm interested in and I can learn from it because that's like, oh, okay, I will not do that anymore. So hopefully that answers your questions, Sunny. Okay, Peter has asked if I can share a sample content creation matrix. Yes, so I did have that shared. I will share my screen once again so you can see it. Let's see. Here we go. All right, you should be able to see that. So this is the content creation matrix. It generally has the categories of content, subcategories. You will have your own topics that you talk about, and then we have the types of content, formats really, and then the platforms on which you can post. So I'll go ahead and remove that. Hopefully that helps. Like I said, I could make that public, or you can obviously freeze the screen, take a screenshot. I suggest you do create your own in a spreadsheet. Just take an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document or even a pen and some paper and just jot this down. I think the most fun part for me was looking through the topics and just thinking through what are the topics I have spoken about? What do I want to talk more about? And there's some of those topics that made me smile big. Like those are the exciting ones. Those are the ones I'm passionate about. Those are the ones that make me want to stop, talk nonstop, kind of like I'm doing right now. So I love sharing social media best practices. I think that's one of my favorite topics, and this is what I'm having fun doing now. All right, let's see. Graham has a question. Our team has a number of different content producers. Okay, so you've got articles and blogs, and they're shared through their own personal channels, Medium accounts, newsletters, LinkedIn, Twitter, Reddit, and their website. Do you have or know of a good strategy to tie all the different pieces of outlets together? In terms of structuring the flow, I recently learned about something called Notion, which I guess helps you organize all that content. But I've also learned about a new method of content creation that you might not be familiar with, you might be familiar with, that really attempts to save some time. So we focus a lot of our time creating content, right? So you probably have a whole team, like you said, of producers who write articles, who write blogs. But then how do we get those pieces of content in front of the right audience? And how do we make them want that content instead of pushing it on them? And I think that comes down to figuring out what are the top questions that your audience is thinking about, and think through your own use of social media and your own consumption of content. So, the last few pieces of content you consumed, why did you read that article? Why did you watch that video? Why are you watching my video, right? Like, what is your why right now? Why are you here? Is it because you like seeing my dedicated pillow, or is it because you're hoping to learn something new? Do you think I'm going to tell you a joke and entertain you, and it's going to make your day more fun? Like, think through it. Let me know. Now I'm really curious. Why did you join? Did LinkedIn just pop up and say, hey, look, Kate is live? And you're like, okay, well, I don't want to work right now, or, do whatever I have to do. Let me pop in and see what Kate's talking about. Yeah. So tell me your why. Why did you just join this live video? And I think you'll answer a lot of your own questions in terms of why would your audience want to consume your content, or would they want to consume your content? I have noticed a lot of companies specifically put out white papers and case studies and all the great stuff. And I know so much effort and resources, time, money go into creating those pieces of content. And then they sort of stop there in the hopes that their audience will just find it magically somehow. And that's simply not the case, right? Unless it's something that they're really searching for, you tend to go out of your way pushing it on all these other social media channels. Like you share the link on LinkedIn, you share it on Facebook, you make a little video about it. And I think before you even start generating the content, thinking through who's going to watch it, why are they going to watch it? I'm just going to scroll down to see if folks are answering my questions. Well, Susan, thank you so much. That's the best comment. Steven says, great tips. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so Susan's letting me know why she joined. So he saw you in the feed and notifications are not working properly. Yeah, you mentioned that they're not working. I'm glad they worked enough to get you to my live show. So that was good. But going back to creating content, right? Let's say you have a topic in mind. We'll stick to proper use of color in data storytelling as our topic. And we decide that that is going to be the topic for the week. Now, one way you can approach this is you can either hire somebody, if you have a company and a team, you can have somebody on your team, or you could do this yourself, is either record a pretty long video or write a newsletter, whichever one comes more naturally to you. For me personally, video is so much easier, especially live, because I sort of turn on the camera, get my mic, and ramble on and feed off the comments that come in. Not much prep required. I did prepare the content matrix just so it's easy to show it to you in Excel. Other than that, not much prep required. Then from that either newsletter that you wrote or video, you can have weeks worth of content. What do I mean by that? Well, you can create shorter videos from your long form videos. You can have a summary of your newsletter. You can have bullets from your newsletter. You can have a picture of yourself writing the newsletter. And all of those are shareable pieces of content that you can now post on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. The videos can go on YouTube and LinkedIn. And there's just so many ways. I think Gary Vee said that there's like, I don't know, 100 pieces of content you can create just from one long form video. And I think that's what he does with his content, though he does have a pretty big team working behind him. No excuses. I think if we wanted to, we would, right? That's my motto. So if this is something that truly excites you, you would make the time for it. So that's the other approach, right? Is picking a topic and focusing in on that topic for 1 or 2 weeks and then repurposing the content that you've created. Let's see. So Graham got here. He saw a notification and loved the idea. Okay, awesome. And that brings us to the importance of taglines, titles, and descriptions, right? We want to make sure that when we advertise what it is we're going to talk about, either in a webinar, a video, an article, to pull your audience in, tell them what you're going to tell them, but then make sure that, like, so Graham, you've been here for about 28 minutes now, if you've joined right when we started. And you're obviously still here since you're still commenting. The thing that's kept you here is the fact that I am now delivering on the promise, which was, my promise was, I'm going to talk to you about content creation and I'm going to show you a matrix. Well, I am talking to you still about creating content and I'm sharing my content creation matrix. Therefore, it sort of checks mentally in your mind, it checks the boxes of, this is a topic I wanted to hear about. I joined and now I am hearing about it. And then you stay. So I think that's sort of powerful, especially with live videos where I'm getting to see the comments live and I get to answer the questions live. Keeps the other audience members here because they know and they trust that if they ask a question, chances are I'm going to take their question as well. So it's sort of like social proof that that this is working. So let's say Aisha is asking, I know what I want to say, but I struggle to stay on topic. How do you stay on topic with what you're wanting to communicate? I would love to know more about you, Aisha. If you want to add maybe a longer comment and tell us what is it that you like to talk about, and then what content types are you working with? Are you talking about long form video, articles? Because I know it's hard to go off topic in a short post or an image. So I'm assuming it's either a longer video or an article. And I think scripting your outline, very high level bullet points of what it is you would like to cover, can be very helpful at getting you to focus on those specific topics. I started this talk without any scripted outline. I just really wanted to showcase the matrix and take questions from the audience. But generally, if I have something specific I want to go through, like if I have a live session with a client or we're talking about a specific product or service, then we definitely do have this outline of either questions or topics that we're going to cover in the session, and that helps us drive the conversation. Okay, so let's see. Steven says, I've been following you for a bit, and I happen to also be learning data analytics during my free time. I joined because I'm always looking for ways to improve my content creation abilities, and by chance saw notifications, so jumped in. Awesome. Thank you so much, Steven. By the way, I do have an announcement where this might help those who are in the same boat as Steven. If you're wanting to up your content creation game, I recently recorded a course for LinkedIn Learning on how to build a brand, like your own personal brand in tech, or more specifically in data analytics. I think we're calling it broader tech, but it goes through all the best practices, takes you on some missions of how to actually create your personal brand and grow your personal brand. Definitely check that out. That's coming out in about 3 weeks, I think, if LinkedIn will be done with all their quality checks and design. I know I'm done. I did the recording. Let's see. Dedicated is a huge team as well. Yes, Dedicated is a team of one, but we're huge. So let's see. I wanted to check in, make sure I didn't miss any other questions. I know I talked a lot. I will, if you're just joined recently, I will briefly just put on screen the content creation matrix one more time, just so you have a sense for what it is we were talking about. Let me make it full screen. So let me know in the comments, are you going to use something similar? And obviously you can expand this. I think the subcategories, you can definitely expand subcategories to include even more types of content, and then obviously you can create your even more content topics for yourself. I think the more focused you are, the easier it is, because once you start getting into just so many different content topics, you might dilute your audience and dilute their attention. But I think if you're going to try this out, and maybe I'll do this for the month of August because it's August 1st, try to do one for each of these items. So creating a personal journey for my running, or mistakes to avoid in data visualization, or data careers and memes. Oh, there's plenty of content you can come up with that, and sort of create one for every day. Create something new, and obviously share it and across all these different platforms, and use all these different types of content as you're doing that. So yeah, let me know if you're going to use this. Let me know if this session has been helpful. If you are not already following Dedicated on YouTube and LinkedIn, please go ahead and do so, especially YouTube. I see Ravit is still here saying he loves these tips. Yes, Ravit, and I'm still competing with Ravit for getting the most YouTube subscribers for the year. We're both aiming for 100,000 subscribers this year. I'm at 14,000 right now, so I've got a ways to go. I still have my hopes up. I've been creating a lot of content there. And we also have something called the Modern Data Fest coming up in October. It is a free virtual conference streamed just like we're streaming right now on LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Twitch. But mostly you can join us on LinkedIn and YouTube. That's where our audience is going to be. It is free. Like I mentioned, you can sign up at the just type in moderndatafest.com. And I'll put it in a little banner so you can see moderndatafest.com. We're essentially There we go. We're going to stream about 20 different talks. They're about 10 minutes each, where we're talking about modern solutions for the modern data problem. Really, really can't wait to co-host this with Ravit. It's going to be so much fun. It's basically this big data party where we're going to talk to the most awesome data people. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you there, and I will host several more live sessions between now and then. I'm gonna go back to my weekly shows, believe starting end of August or towards the beginning of September. My shows are typically Tuesdays at 11. So if you want more content, go ahead and follow me. If you're not following me, there's also this little bell, I think towards the right of people's profile, that you can click, where it essentially subscribes you to their content even more. So you get notified every time their content is out. Oh, let me see. There's something here. There's a question. You posted a question here. I'm going to try to find it. Let's see. So thank you, Stephen, for letting me know that you think it's helpful. I'm looking for your question. Sorry, I missed that. Okay, here we go. We'll take one last question here. So you recently started writing on Medium, but struggling with getting my posts published on tech publications. Though I've only tried with just one publication, but I plan to spread my post to try other publications. Yes, don't give up. You can also publish on Datacated, by the way, if you want. Send me a note and I can publish it on I have a Medium Datacated publication that you can try. You can try towards data science, and then Analytics Vidya is also a good one that you can experiment with, depending on the topic, obviously. Also, ask the tech publication why they didn't accept you. I think that could be a good lesson learned. I think we all assume our content is the best content, but sometimes we need to improve something in order to make it work for our audience. So be open to feedback and just see what they have to say in terms of why they didn't accept you. And maybe you can change something and resubmit, right? So good luck on that journey. On that note, thank you so much for joining the live show, the Datacated show, and I hope to see you on LinkedIn. All right. Bye, everyone.